Hi everybody, it's Dr. Chabot, and in this short video we're going to talk about the different types of materials that hold charge and how to give something a charge. So recall that we have Coulomb's law, which dictates the force between two charges. But most often in the world we don't just have isolated charges, so we want to talk about different types of material. The first type of material that I'm going to talk about is called an insulator. So an insulator is where we actually have the electrons in their atoms are bound to their parent nucleus. So they are bound to the parent nuclei. And so they can't really move a lot. They stay relatively fixed, but they can move around a little as if they were on a leash attached to the atom. They can, and then we can call that, say, polarize, and move a little. So in this case, like if I just had a positive nuclei and my electrons around it, and then let's say that I brought in near to this, a positive charged rod, then what would happen to this atom is all of the electrons might be attracted to that side of the atom, and so then they would polarize in that way. And so what you actually end up with here is still the negatives are closer to the positives than the nuclei. And so what we end up with is a net positive, net attractive force. So what would happen then if we brought in a negative charge? So let's say that we brought in a negatively charged rod and we bring it near our atom. Well, the negative is going to scare away the other negative. So now the negatives go to this side. And what we actually see over here is that now the force of attraction between the positive nuclei and the negative rod is actually going to be stronger because the nuclei is closest. So the positive nuclei is closer to the negative rod. And so we still get a net attractive force. So neutral insulators will be attracted to either a positive or negative charge that's brought near to it. So neutral insulators are attracted to both positive and negative charges. And we're going to see the same thing when we start talking about our next type of material, which is a conductor. And a conductor actually allows the electrons to move a lot. So we're still going to get this net attractive force for any neutral conductor, but we're going to see that it's a much stronger force. So let's go ahead and talk about the conductors. So here we have the conductor. And a conductor is going to be that the electrons are free to move throughout the object. And so if I have an object that has a bunch of, say, positive nuclei, and those are the things that are fixed in the object, and then I bring a positive charge near this, then all the electrons are going to then be attracted to that positive charge and they'll collect on that side. So we get a net attractive force in that scenario. If I have that same object and now I bring a negative charge near it, say like so, that negative charge scares away all of the electrons. But now what happens is I actually still have a net attractive force. So for conductors, neutral conductors are attracted to both plus and minus, and it's a stronger effect. It's a stronger effect than the insulators because the electrons can move even more in the conductors. So conductors, electrons are free to move. Insulators, they stay relatively put. Okay, and so then we just have two more types of materials to talk about. The first one of those is what we're going to call ground. And so when we talk about ground, what we mean is that it's going to be an infinite source or sink for electrons. So it can provide electrons or it can take extra electrons, but it always remains neutral because it's just an infinite source of these electrons, so it can take them or it can give them away, and either way it still has a net neutral. And we'll see some applications of that when we start talking about how to give something charge. And then the last one is going to be a semiconductor. Now, we don't talk too much about semiconductor physics in this semester of classical physics, but a semiconductor is something that's very relevant to our everyday technology, so we like to mention it when we can. And what it is it's an object that's going to be engineered by us to either be insulating or conducting. So we can make it a good conductor by adding different atoms in place of some other atoms. Say in silicon we can add boron, and then that actually makes it have like these positive charge carriers as a conductor, and it can often be a very good conductor once it's engineered to do so. And when we get into magnetism, we actually take a little bit of a deeper dive into some semiconductor type materials. Okay, so the next thing that we want to talk about, now that we have talked about the types of materials, is how would I take an object and actually give it a charge? So how to give something a net charge. The first way is very easy, and it's the most common interaction that you'll have had with giving something a charge, and that's just by contact. That's going to be literally by friction. You shuffle your feet across the carpet in a cold, dry space, and then you end up accumulating a charge. You go to touch the doorknob and you get shocked, right? That's charging by friction. And so this is also just has a fancy name of triboelectric charging, but it's really just our basic charging by friction. So that's very common. You rub, two things together, and then you'll be able to kind of strip electrons off one of the object, give it to the other. So the electrons are just transferred via friction. The next one is a little bit less obvious, and so we're going to talk a little bit about it, and it's going to be charging by induction, which is going to be no contact. How do I manage to give something charge without actually having my charged object come in contact? So we're going to look at the situation. I'm going to take here to start a neutral conductor. And so for a neutral conductor, I'm going to give it, say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 atoms. Very small neutral conductor, but just for the sake of drawing it. And it would have some amount of the same number of electrons because it's neutral. I'm not going to draw those yet because what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a negative charge near it. So I'm going to bring a negative charge near it. And so as we saw above, what that's going to do is it's going to scare away our 7 electrons to the far side of the object. So that's the starting situation for charging by induction. I haven't yet given anything a charge, right? And so what I'm going to do now is now I'm going to attach a ground wire to the conductor. So I can basically just take this picture again, and now I'm going to attach this ground wire. So that is going to go over here. We very often draw ground as like this sort of symbol of 3 lines. And if I attach that ground wire, remember that ground is an infinite source or sink of electrons. So in this case, my electrons, my extra electrons that are here are going to want to run away, right? All of these electrons are going to want to escape because now they have somewhere to escape to, and they're trying to get really far away from this negative charge. So my electrons will actually try to escape to ground. So now all I do is at this point is now I'm going to cut the ground wire. And if I cut the ground wire, then what I'm left with at the end of it is simply my positively charged object that's no longer neutral, and then my negative charge that I had brought near it. So this is a no longer neutral object, and it's positively charged. So I have given it a charge even though I didn't actually bring in contact my negative charge that had the electrons on it. So that's what we mean by charging by induction, bringing a charge near a conductor, and then you can briefly basically make contact with the conductor, just touch and not touch with ground, some sort of infinite source or sink, and then the electrons are going to either escape or move onto the conductor depending on what charge you bring near it, and then you end up with a net charge at the end. So what was a neutral object is now charged. Okay, so I hope that this video was helpful.